The Grove Podcast.
Hello, my name is Tabs and welcome to episode 152 of the Grove Podcast. Now, thank you for listening. Now, I hope you're all sort of doing well from an Arsenal perspective. I mean, in your lives in general, I hope everything's fine and dandy. But as Arsenal is concerned, I mean, look, we're one game closer. We're 1 point closer to winning the Premier League, right? All right. Yeah. So what's there to complain about? So it looks like Arsenal really do want to put us through the ringer. Why should they make it easy on ourselves? Why let us enjoy this season? Why make winning fun? Why not make it as miserable as possible? And yes, it's another opportunity missed to go clear of City by more than we already are. And a bit like the Chelsea game midweek and the Liverpool game before that, we're just not grabbing those opportunities, grasping them with both hands. Now, look, we did try and do an instant reaction hot off the pitch pod last night. Myself and Ian did have a good chat for an hour. Unfortunately, it was just me talking to him, and due to technical issues, it didn't live stream and the recording didn't get done. So that's consigned to the bin. But it was a good chat, and look, we've done 152 episodes, and so, you know, that's the first time that we've had such a technical failure and so on. So there we go. These things happen. And look, joining me today to make up for that and to try and make sense of it all is Kuziva. Kuziva, how are you doing? You know, why is being the best, being top of the league by 7 points so damn hard? Where's the fun? Where's the fun?
The fun is the friends we make along the way. Honestly, I'm all right. And I know that sounds strange after 2-0-0s, after not taking chances against Chelsea, but context does matter, and we'll chat about that more in the pod. But yeah, I'm all good, thanks.
Good, glad to hear it. And Kuziva was otherwise distracted during the game yesterday, and so he's had the mispleasure or pleasure of rewatching this morning. So he brings a different perspective to it rather than what we watched. What if you watched it sort of live? So anyway, before we carry on and get on with our thoughts, just as always, just a quick favour: if you can leave us a nice little rating, subscribe to the show on the podcast apps or on our YouTube channel at the Grove AFC. That would be really appreciated, and it really helps grow the podcast. So that would be very kind of you, and we thank you for doing that. So anyway, enough of that. Nottingham Forest 0, Arsenal 0, and actually I'm sort of changing things around. I'm just going to launch straight into the lineup, and So look, we had Portsmouth the week before, so we made 10 changes, like full rotation. Then we went full strongest team possible for Chelsea midweek, and then we've got Inter Milan in midweek, and we will chat about that at the end of the game as a bit of a free hit, but I know Arteta. So look, but I think this, out of all the games, is the most important game out of all those 4 games, and it's a must. So you think, let's go as strong as possible, and it's sort of a mixture. I mean, so we had White, Saliba and Gabriel, who are playing for the 100th time together in the Premier League, and I've got a stat about them later. And we stuck with Timber at left back, Rice, Zubimendi and Odegaard in midfield, and then here with the changes with Madueke, Gyökeres and Martinelli. So it was our wingers that were the main change. What were your thoughts when you saw that lineup? You know, did you have any thoughts? Let me think. I've got my thoughts, but what did you think when you saw that?
Yeah. So we spoke about this in the last pod. I did expect a few changes. I did think that Eze was going to start, but I did expect a few changes because I do feel like Arteta probably prioritizes just winning, and he knows that he knew that the team yesterday should have won, they could have won, and the team that we're playing on Tuesday is going to be even tougher. And we want to win that. So I wasn't too surprised by the starting lineup at all. I'm glad that we can rotate like this, so I'm grateful for that.
Yes, if you win, I guess. And hindsight's a wonderful thing. I think the main thing is that team that we started with was good enough to win that game. Exactly. Madueke and Martinelli, they're no mugs. Okay, look, there are issues at hand in terms of yesterday's performance, but you start off with that team, you're thinking this team is good enough to win, and look, Forest is tricky, but they're 17th for a reason. Okay, maybe given their expected goals, they should be maybe 5 places higher, but still. And look, Saka on the bench. There were rumours he may have had a little niggle, or it shows how Arteta's putting importance on the Inter game, which is good. Leo on the bench, but I still think this is P1. This is priority one. So, was going strong against Chelsea the right idea? Look, we got the result, and so on. So again, this is all hindsight here. This is all after the fact. But I think everyone before the game was going, yeah, no, this team's good enough. Good rotation, playing Forest, big game. This is what we got the squad. Let's do it. And in terms of what Arteta said, and why he switched out Saka and Trossard for Madueke and Martinelli, he said Bukayo had a lot of minutes and he had a niggle before the game, so we need to manage our players. We have some fantastic players that can provide different things, and we did try it from the beginning. We tried after half time as well, taking more risks and bringing in even more players in those attacking options. We tried in every way, and it wasn't enough, unfortunately. And I think he's right. I mean, I don't think it was for lack of endeavour and a lack of trying, and more a case of a lack of execution. And we will get onto that sort of execution versus mentality thing. And so I think so in terms of the lineup, looking after it, I think maybe we should have gotten as strong as possible. But if he's saying he had a niggle, then maybe not. And there we go. So look, anyway, from that game, what was your? I struggled with this yesterday. What was your highlight and low light from the game yesterday?
Low lights has to be the execution. I spoke about this in the last pod, and the data backs this. The eye test backs this, as frustrating as it can be. Not executing. We had opportunities to execute. Cells did have a good game. Can't lie about that. But we need to be executing. Yes, it could have been a stronger lineup, but we had a team that was strong enough to beat these guys. And we also shouldn't discount that they are sitting at the bottom, and it's a tricky time to be sitting at the bottom, right? Especially after West Ham beats Tottenham. So these guys, we're fighting for top place. They're fighting for their lives. They're fighting for 100 mil. So let's not discount that. And then the highlight is the defense. Two back-to-back clean sheets. I know we didn't score either, but we also didn't allow a shot on target, and our XGA per game is around 0.7, which literally sits like in the top section of title winning sides. That's something that you cannot discount. We're not executing, we are creating, we are defending well. It'll click. 1 or 2 or 3 games, it'll click. So yeah, those are my highlights and lowlights.
Yeah, I mean, I struggled a bit with this one. I jokingly said last night, and I really couldn't think of a highlight. So I just said Raya's Fabianski impression when he came charging out the box onto the right hand side, and like Fabianski did in the FA Cup final against Hull, which I found a bit funny. So I guess that was a little bit of a funny moment. But you're right. I guess a highlight is not conceding, not letting a shot on target 2 games in a row. So that defensive solidity is sort of returning to the Premier League. I mean, I think we did mention like in the last 7 games we've been letting in goals, but actually in the Premier League, I would say a factor of that is that we played 2 teams that had no interest in winning the game or attacking us, and we're lacking ambition. So I think it's a bit of one and a bit of the other in terms of, yes, we're solid, hard to break down, hard to score against, and not letting it on, but also we're playing teams with very limited ambition. And yeah, the low light. Actually, it was weird. I didn't think about it yesterday, and you just mentioned it, and I thought about it. Was the fact that we've now gone 2 Premier League games in a row that have both been 0-0, and I think the cup games in between with 7 goals scored have we've sort of forgotten Liverpool already. That was only a week or so ago, and we've sort of forgotten that already. So that's 2 0-0s in a row, not taking our chances, and also the substitutes not really doing much to impact or influence the game. Okay, Saka, I think maybe yesterday did, but everyone else was poor and not really making a difference. And we will touch on that. And look, in terms of taking our chances and just scoring in general. I said we are elite defensively. We have a very good midfield that does create, and we have sort of wingers that create. But our main attacking threat, in the Premier League, Gyökeres has got 5 goals. Trossard have got 5 goals. Rice is on 4. Saka's on 4. Ezra's on 4 when he got 3 of those in one game. You know, Zubimendi and Marino on 3. You know, Gabriel, Big G at the back is 3. You know, Martinelli's 1. Odegaard 1. Jesus 1. You know, so it's clear. It's clear where our problems lie. Now, you know, is that enough to be a championship winning team if you share the goals around? You know, I don't know, but it's obvious that that's where our challenge is. Is it? You know, is it something fundamental that we have to change, or do you think if we just keep ticking along with a goal here and a goal there for spreading it around?
So the foundations are there. The process is working in terms of getting us into goal scoring positions. Players just have to score. You know, we'll talk about the Martinelli chance. We'll talk about the Gyökeres chance. There are ways to analyze this, and I'm sure when they go back to the drawing board, they are also looking at these opportunities and saying, "Hey, you know, I should have done better there." So I think from a fundamental basis, we are in a good place. It's just about don't stop creating chances. Just don't stop creating chances. Because the issue arises when you can't create chances and you can't concede, and then you make a stupid mistake at the back, and then you concede because shit happens, right? So I think the team know they need to do a little bit better in terms of just converting those chances. I'm actually on Wikipedia now trying to find some of City's winning leagues where Aguero is injured, and there's a season where their top goal scorer had like 14 or 15 goals, you know, in the Premier League. We had game week 16 next week.
16 games to go. We got 16 games to go. Yeah.
I feel like we won't get to 15 for everyone, but people get to 12, 13. I believe that, you know, at least 2 players. As long as we continue just making sure that we are creating chances and also shoring things up at the back. So I think as the process is working, it is working. It's just frustrating.
Yeah. So in terms of, you're talking statistics. So in terms of yesterday, it's like, 40%, 60% possession in our favour. They had 0.34 XG to our 2.1. They had 6 shots to our 15. They had none on target. We had 3 on target, and we had 4 big chances, and we missed all 4 of those big chances. So, and before we get onto that, in terms of the result as a whole, in terms of like how it was set up. So I think before yesterday, in the morning, we're thinking, okay, we need to win this just to maintain our 6-point gap. I mean, we all thought, City going to go to United the way United are. You know, I don't think we held much hope. Now, like United in the past seem to have an issue where they play 6 good games a season and the others are terrible because, you know, they're up for playing us, they're up for playing Liverpool, and they're up for playing City, and they seem to get sort of half decent results in some of those games. So, but I still thought City should, a very dangerous word, as we discovered yesterday, should go in. So we were thinking, all right, this is important just to keep the gap. And then suddenly City go ahead and lose and then lose properly. Then all of a sudden it's a different pressure. Oh, now we've got a chance. Yeah, you know, and it's a different psyche and a different mentality in terms of the opportunity of, it's like I hear this phrase, you know, people are afraid of winning. And I can't remember if I've heard it in a football context or an American football context or in whatever sporting context, afraid of winning. And there's a different psyche between maintaining the situation to we can take an opportunity here. So how do you feel about the game? And I'm suggesting the context of the City losing, and Liverpool drawing. Not that they're much of an issue, but yeah, how do you feel about the game and the result as a whole, and in terms of how we approached it, how we played?
I mean, you can't discount that it is frustrating that, you know, we didn't get 2 points, but we did gain a point against City. And I called this out in the last tab, and I think people are trying to put their head in the sand. City's defense is in tatters right now. They're not in a great place. They just signed Gay. He's not going to change, you know, the fact that they've lost 2 really key players from the last 3-4 seasons. So in the context of City losing and us not taking the opportunity, it's frustrating, and maybe they put more pressure on themselves. James, or Whale, for those who don't know James, said it in the chat. It's like there's more pressure, and I know UTabs responded to that. But I think you can't discount the fact that Nottingham Forest are fighting for their lives. These guys are potentially could lose 75 million to 100 million pounds getting relegated. This is a club on Europa League wages. This is their business that's at stake. So I feel like to an extent they are also fighting for their lives, and we can't just look at the City and Arsenal and ask, trying to win the league. We also have to look at the teams that we're playing against. They have a lot to play for too. So frustrating. We gained 1 point. Daesh really set up well, double teamed our key right attacking players, and it was not what I expected at all. But they're fighting for their lives. We are fighting to extend a lead, and we did. We extended a lead. You can't ignore that.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just by not as much, and I think it's just that we keep missing these opportunities. So again, the context is, how long can City be this bad for? There's it's the fear that, look, they've been there, they've done it, and until we do it, people are always going to be uncertain. People are going to doubt our ability. People are going to be questioning our mentality, our ability to get, and rightly so, because we haven't done it. Yeah. I hate the word bottle, and we haven't bottled it. Circumstances has dictated that we just haven't. We've come second 3 times in running, and look, that means we're missing out on top spot, but it also means we're better than the other 18 teams below us. So it's a feat in itself, but it's obviously So it's not a case of bottling, but the mental aspect, and I'll ask you about that in a minute. But it's sort of.
Sorry, Tabs. Just to add, City have done this before. That's how people don't doubt them. That's how people expect them to go on a run. But that was a very different City to the City that we see now. It is a City that was not going through a transition. We've never done before. So people always criticize us more, probably the fans more than anyone else. Actually, I think the players more than anyone else, because it's their job. They want to win. And they've all signed, or not all, a few of them have signed long-term contracts showing that, hey, we want to win here. These are superstars who could play for most top sides. So the important part is we have come second, and that means that the system and the process is working. And if you had to run this back, if we look at Liverpool's example, when these guys finished the season on 97 points, they came second on 97 points, and people are like, oh, these guys will never win. These guys suck. It's been 30 years. But the system worked, which is why when the opportunity did run back, they won. And then they won again 3 years later. So it's just, we need to be a little bit patient. And I know we've been patient for a long time. But that's sports fandom. I mean, what team was in the MLB semifinals? Was it the Mariners? Never been in that space ever in their entire lives. And they were like, shit, we could actually make it. That's our job as fans, right? Patience and hope. But doesn't mean you shouldn't be frustrated. Let's be frustrated.
Yeah. Well, talking of frustration, and you talk about the players, fucking shit every fucking time. That was Declan Rice pictured, recorded on camera, screaming into the air after full time. So there was frustration there. I'm not too sure what he meant about every time, but and look, again, everyone was ready to dismiss Forest. They're 17th, so it got very binary. They're 17th, therefore they must be shit. And we were bullish in the preview pod, and that's our job as fans to be a bit bullish, to have a bit of fun with it, and ever. But then it came yesterday, and in the group chat, and I got a lot of stick saying, look, it wouldn't be an easy game, despite the respective positions in the league. It's Dyche. They need a performance. They got dumped out of the cup by Wrexham the previous week. They're at home. They've not played. We've played 2 games since they last played. And I thought it'd be tricky. And look, this was the Everton game from last season all over again. When Dyche turned up with Everton and we drew 0-0 at the Emirates, and it was. And so it was that all over again. And but everyone was just sort of like, we're going to smash them 3-0, 6-0, 2-0, but whatever. Again, we were bullish. I'm not saying we weren't doing this prior to this, but then come nearer the time, I was thinking, let's maybe not so confident, and I'll take a gnarly 1-0 win and get out of there. Away games. There's no easy games in the Premier League. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but we know everyone can beat everyone. And look, Forest beat Liverpool at home, and that was not at the height of Liverpool being rubbish. I think they've managed to get some results. City only just beat them 2-1, and that was with an 84th minute dodgy goal. So, and look, again, kryptonite, mid to low blocks, and it highlighted our familiar failings. Breaking down mid to low blocks when we're not on form, lacking creativity, lacking finishing, lacking pace in attack. And do you think, and this comes to the execution versus pressure, or a combination of both? So yesterday we score the first goal, we win. Martinelli scores, we win that. We win that. Not maybe easy, but we win that game. Do you think it's just purely down to poor execution, or do you think there is a mental aspect to that? And I struggle with this, because when Martinelli's going to hit it and trying to score, I don't think he's thinking anything other than I need to score. But I don't know, or like Gyökeres when he's meant to be breaking through, maybe he's got more time to think. So I don't know. Or do you think there's a mental element to how we're playing?
Yeah, so I don't think the pressure got to us yesterday. So pressure causes chaos. So that's rushed long shots, positional breakdowns, emotional fouls. We didn't see that yesterday. What we saw was just pure poor control. Execution. Yeah. And that's how I felt yesterday when I watched 50 minutes of the game while playing with the baby. And today when I watched it again, we weren't all over the place. And when there's pressure, like the Villa game, that's a telltale sign that things aren't okay mentally. So yeah, I think Martinelli, I don't think he was thinking I need to score. I think he was thinking I've scored. That's what I feel. That's what I feel in that position. With Gyökeres, and we'll chat about it later, or maybe we'll just chat about it now.
Yeah, no, go for it. So that was So okay, so on the two chances, so they were, I think Martinelli was in the 29th minute, and with Gyökeres in the 45th. So it was like a Madueke shot came through to Martinelli at the back post. Yeah, go on.
Gyökeres,
with the Martinelli. Were you going to say anything about the Martinelli chance? Yeah.
So the Martinelli chance, back post, it came up really quick. Maybe he saw or thought that there was going to be deflection, but I truly believe that he thought he was going to score. I don't think that there was pressure in his mind thinking about, okay, oh shit, I really have to get this in. The way he shot it wasn't a pressure shot. It was I'm just going to tap this in and it's going to be easy. Game, let's go. And that's why I feel like that shot was such a high XG, because he does score goals like that, right? It doesn't go far post a lot of the time. A lot of the time it's going through the player's legs. So maybe it was actually just a bad shot from him.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Maybe I think he overthought it, and this is maybe the mental part, because Lascelles Sells, I can't remember his name. Sells, the goalkeeper's coming across to cover the near post or whatever, so diving big. So he's thinking, okay, he's going one way, so I'll hit it the other way, and he sort of shins it. So I can understand what he's getting, but I think you just get that on target. That's in. That's the primary thing. Get that on target. So in a way, I think maybe overthought, trying to send it back the other way, and then. Yeah, but he should be scoring from there, and it's poor execution. He hits that cleanly. That's a goal, and I think maybe it bobbles up or whatever. And the Gyökeres one.
So with that one, I feel like that's a confidence one more than pressure. Leo Trossard, with the pressure that's surrounding the club right now, is dumbing the defender, because he knows that the block is going to come, and then shooting, either chipping or finding a way in. Gyökeres, this is not the Portuguese league. People block better in this league. These guys obviously have been set up quite well to stop you. So do better. I know I was giving him I didn't give him any slack after the last game, but I think that opportunity, I'm expecting you to do better as a striker. Like, you are smarter, you have the ball at feet, you know exactly what the defender is going to do. Dummy him, let the guy fly, take the shot. Leo Trossard is 100% scoring from there.
And this was his bread and butter. This is all the comps that we see is Gyökeres pacing away from a defender and then thunderbolt into the net. And at no point. So this is it. At no point yesterday did I believe he was going to do that. Yesterday, the one thing he could have done or should have done, and this is what I always, I was telling my son as a striker, and what I would do, you run across the defender, so you don't run side by side, or you run across, so it makes it harder for him, and maybe he trips you or something like that, and then that's a red card and whatever. But no way did he get any separation. Murillo's a good defender, and he chases back, and yes, he's grabbing at him. Gyökeres maybe goes down. He again wins a free kick, but you're not. It's tough. Do you want him to go down there and he doesn't get the free kick and he gets abused, or he goes forward and misses it, gets abused? So he's just getting abused no matter what he does, unless he scores. So, but I think everyone watching that was. I did get out of my seat, but I didn't at any time think he's going to pace away from him like we've seen 100 times in the Portuguese league. So, yeah, and I think that you're right. I think that's a confidence thing. Maybe there was talk about his fitness. He's never going to be the slightest of figures, but he don't know. There's something or maybe his fitness for the Portuguese league is obviously is very different to what we need in the Premier League. And you even see, he's got his size and stature, but he doesn't seem to use it. He's not very good in 50-50s and duels. Okay, he gets his body about, but it's very rare that he comes out on top of those. So it's an odd one. But yeah, I said I don't think that's a confidence thing as opposed to maybe too much going in his head. And back to my point in terms of the first goal is so important. And actually in games like this is where set pieces are really important. And I got the stat here where it's like, out of our 15 wins in the Premier League this season, 11 have seen our first goal come from a set piece or second phase of a set piece. And that's why we really rely on them. And then once we score that goal, then fine, we can get more there afterwards, and it frees everything up. And we just couldn't get that set piece goal. I mean, look, Forest set themselves up well to defend. I never thought we were going to score from a set piece yesterday, just because the way they're also being refereed. It just seems like the defense. But on both sides, we got a few free kicks. They got free. So it wasn't like it just seemed like ones. If we did score, something would be given against. So I never had any confidence with doing that. And again, we shouldn't be relying on that. But that's who we are. And if 11 out of 15. That's not luck. That's sustainability. It's just that you need to maybe change that a bit so you can score from open play first goal. So yeah, it's a sort of a tough one to swallow. And I think other aspects of the game. I think some players looked leggy, and I think one of those ones when there's team performances, you just cannot lift yourself up to go to that next level. Sometimes sometimes it's hard. You don't know what it is. It's I've done it before playing sport, and if you play sport before, you just don't know what it is. It's just something's just holding you back, and it feels very hard to get yourself out of that sort of funk. And look, the first half. To me, I expected more. I expected Forest to really come out at us and really start attacking us, but they basically got into their shape, and basically their plan was to either play on the counter, down the flanks, or basically long ball to Igor Jesus, and then hold it up and bring in the midfield runners. But they didn't do a great deal of that. We had that pretty much under control. And we had Madueke looked a bit lively. Ben White was quite dangerous down the right. So we had a few chances, and also maybe this is where the mentality things is. We either snatch at shots. So there was Zubamendi. Not snatching shots, not taking shots when you should. Like Zubamendi, the 31st minute. I don't see. Did you see that one where he sort of crossed it instead of shooting, and he's in a real good position to shoot as well? And it feels like there's a couple of moments like that where we're leaving it to someone else.
Yeah. I think when you are not 0-0, when you've scored the corner and you've psychologically broken down the team, it looks like a good idea. But when you haven't scored and the game finishes 0-0, you've only got 1 point ahead of City instead of 3 points. It's easier to criticize. So I don't know. I don't see that as just too much of an issue, but I do get your point around maybe just leaving it for someone else, just shoot. But then there are times when we are winning and we say just shoot, and they don't, right? So
Yeah.
we need
Well,
to.
yeah, there was a chance. Ben White had a shot, and I think, oh, why are yeah, in the 21st, Madueke lays it back to Ben White, and he shoots it high and wide. So I just want it to make better decisions or execute better. I think that's what we're asking, or yeah, in those moments, and we were just in that first half thoroughly on top. I think there was a stat that came out between like minute 30 and minute 35. We had 96% possession, but that's only only really relevant if you do something with it. Otherwise, we're used to the sterile possession and things like that. So yeah, and this comes back to the point. Forest were very tricky to break down, and we needed something to do that. And I think the only threat really Forest had was the Timber taking down Hudson-Odoi, but luckily it was just outside the box. Otherwise, that would have just killed us getting a penalty against us. So we think, okay, fine. We're a second half team. The subs will win it. Yeah, everyone's thinking that. Okay, look, after the game midweek, we're going to start slowly. It's atypical of this sort of thing. It's what Arsenal do. It's how we are. Let's do that. And one other stat from that first half, I think it was Arsenal had 8 shots in the first half, and that's the most. And none of them were on target. And I think that's the most since Arteta's first match in charge back in 2019. But yeah, I think. Were you thinking half time? Were you thinking, oh no, we'll get there eventually. We will break them down eventually. Something's going to give.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think after all the games we've watched this season, and we've had this exact same situation, and the commentators also raised the point around our Arsenal, one of the most challenging teams in the first 15 minutes of the second half. Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, this is it. We're going to figure it out. Even when we saw the sub Leo coming on, it raised urgency from the fans, but urgency is not the same as change. So things quickly settled down, and they continued playing how they finished the half, which was quite frustrating.
So Martinelli off, Trossard on, and that was at half time. So at least he learnt from the Liverpool game, not waiting to make the subs. He's right, I'm making the sub now. And then in my notes here, the next thing that happened was Arsenal subs on 57. So he's making changes. He's making them early. Madueke, Gyökeres and Odegaard off, and Saka, Marino and Jesus on. And my only concern with that is what sort of fitness is Havertz in. If he can't even manage half an hour, something. Yeah, and I know we're not going to manage him, but yeah, I mean, really, is it to that point where he played 10 minutes against Portsmouth and then I don't know, I can't remember how long, maybe 10 minutes against Chelsea. Is he really so fragile that he can't play half an hour? Because I didn't see this as a Jesus game, and what's interesting is like Jesus being out, so all of a sudden always players get better when we don't see them for ages. Jesus, and then he comes on and they get the same against Chelsea, I think the same against Liverpool and this one, and it's like, yep, that's the same old Jesus that we know and love, in inverted commas. It's a concern. Is that a concern for you, or was it just really we still got a lot of games to go, and we just really need to manage this carefully because we cannot falter with Havertz?
I think all your points are right. He came back after being out tail end of last season, got injured immediately for like 4 months. Jesus, we thought that he was going to fire up things. That's exactly what we haven't been seeing. And it wasn't a Jesus game. It was a Kai Havertz game. And then you are right on the point that we do have a lot of other games the rest of the season. So let's see how we can protect the players that can help us finish the season, the players that have BMT, the players that have won the Champions League before. Maybe we'll see more minutes on Tuesday, or maybe this is like an opportunity for Jesus to show Arteta that, hey, I'm good enough to stick around, because there's been a lot of talk right now about him probably being sold off in the summer.
Yeah.
So Arteta's like, hey, okay, show me what you can do. But it was definitely the wrong game for him, just given how defensively structured these guys are, how there are zero spaces. Maybe if Arteta thought he was going to try and get a penalty from tricky Jesus.
Or maybe a bit of chaos. Yeah,
Chaos,
yeah. And then maybe if you're bringing Marino on, then that's sort of a bit analog to Havertz, and so like Havertz and Marino at the same time. Yeah, but Saka came on and he suddenly made a difference. Look, I thought Madueke was bright in the first half and then sort of seemed to fade. But again, you know, he is just an emblem of how the whole team was. So everyone was a bit bright in the first half, and then not a lot happened there afterwards. So you know, Saka was involved straight away, sets up Rice for a shot, bounce into the ground, keeper makes a save, and then 6 minutes later the Saka header, and then it was the tips of Sells' fingertips. I was like, I didn't think much of the header, and I was really surprised actually how close a save it was. So I wasn't really leaping out my seat, and it was only on the replay. So, oh wow, he really did. It was like Sanchez with his toe for Marino against Chelsea. It was just like really like the tips of that. So again, we're putting the pressure on, but did you feel that it was like, oh, we're getting it's coming? Did you ever feel like the goal was coming or at all?
I didn't. I started feeling that way around the 75th minute when I was like, we are not going to win here. I was actually telling PK, my partner, that what's this kid's name? The Omari Hutchinson. I was like, fuck, this guy's going to score. I was in a very depressive state given how I'm speaking today and now. But yeah, it's frustrating. Just going back to Madueke, what I noticed today was I watched bits of the game yesterday, but when I was analyzing like what actually happened on that side, he didn't seem as positive. But then also, we haven't seen this often this season. He was being double teamed a lot. Like they were all over him, and Odegaard had no time. I know people have been calling him out, and we'll touch on that maybe a bit later.
Go for it now. What were your thoughts on, because he seems to be a bit of a lightning rod. He's one of the lightning rods in the team. Him and Gyökeres seems to be the one, and Gyökeres rightly so. Should I say? But yeah, Odegaard's getting a lot of heat today. So go on. What your thoughts on, well, as well as your Madueke point?
So with the Madueke, it just seems like they knew the type of player. He's a great progressor of the ball. He gets to the byline often, and he will often cut it back in. They blocked a lot of those opportunities. With Odegaard, he was invisible because they made him invisible. I don't doubt that Odegaard wants to win this more than anyone. He's our captain. He's trying to lead by example. Dash knows that he's one of the key orchestrators of our midfield, or attacking, maybe the key attacking orchestrator. And it's, when you watch it played back, I don't know if you guys will watch it back, he's nowhere because they just don't allow it. They just didn't allow it. So even when we have the ball in the back, you hardly see him as an option because Saliba and Saliba can't pass to him. It's as simple as that. And in a game like that, I don't expect him to be coming super deep compared to a Chelsea game or a Liverpool game, because we are expecting to win. We are expecting to attack. So,
and there's more space. There was a lot more space in the Chelsea game. Geez, yeah,
absolutely.
Liverpool less so, but yeah.
So
on Odegaard, he had 27 touches. He had one pass into the final third. No successful dribbles. Okay, he's not a dribbler. He had no touches in the opposition box, and that was in 57 minutes. 27 touches in 57 minutes, and one pass into the final third. And he's going to be one of our most creative threats. So, Forest did a great job nullifying him. And look, I said they had no ambition. So fine, you put 10 men behind the ball. There's going to be, but then he has to find a way. I think. This season and last season, I think, have impacted him in a way that he seems to be afraid of the physical battle because of the injuries, and he just doesn't want that injury again. So maybe that's why he's maybe shies away from that, and maybe that's why, in a way, away games versus home games, he's better at home than away. Maybe more space, the different setup in terms of, and expectations in terms of how teams play us and so on, and then also, he's a better partner with with Saka than Madueke. So between Saka and so that's a bit odd as well. You bring Saka on, but you take Odegaard off, and they're a really good partnership. So maybe some of the, and this is where some of the fault with Arteta maybe is that some of the partnerships weren't quite right, or they're being split up, or you bring one on and you take the other one off. So, but yeah, he was anonymous, and look, the stats bear that out. You know, he's meant to be our main man, get the ball, and he's 27 touches. And do you think there's an element of especially in games like this, our midfield gets in the way of each other? So Zubimendi, Rice, and Odegaard sometimes find themselves in similar positions, or because there's not enough space, there's maybe, don't know, it just feels maybe they're stepping on each other's toes a bit. And do we need all those three, or I would primarily say, do we need Zubimendi and Odegaard there, or do we need another option who's a bit more of a goal threat, who will take shots? You know, someone like a let's say like an Eze or something like that.
Yeah, possibly. I haven't critically analyzed that myself, but I'm just thinking now at how we try to overload the midfield. I guess the struggle is always when we do that. When you see Timber coming in, what you'll often see are passing lanes just blocked out. So people like Odegaard just cannot get the ball, because if they could, then they'll have an opportunity to do something with it. So, I mean, I like the fact that we have that those three players, but I think there are opportunities or some games where let's actually not have two defensive-minded players in Zubimendi and Rice. Let's have one or the other, which is why sometimes when you are chasing a game, he takes off Zubimendi, plays Rice as a 6. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I need to maybe just look out for that a bit more and see how these guys are. And
look, the threat still happens. So after the Saka header, we had a chance. I think Merino flicks a header wide from a free kick. I think we had a chance from a corner. Then we had another one of those chances where Merino tries to square it instead of maybe shooting, and then Zubimendi goes off for Eze in the 79th minute. Is that really enough time for Eze to have an impact and be in the middle? I don't know. We'll see. It sort of just seems last throw of the dice type stuff, as opposed to actually thinking too much. And then we have the penalty appeal, and Eze straight away involved in that. So Jesus almost plays Eze in. Ball breaks sort of in. It's going out for a corner, and I think Aina and another Forest player are there, and in attempting to stop it from going a corner, he handles the ball and eventually goes out for a corner. Yeah, what's your view on that? Do you think it's a penalty? Do you not a penalty? Right decision? Yeah, where are you sitting on the penalty appeal?
Yeah, I think like most of us, if not all of us, we instantly called out pen. We watched it again. And we said, "Pen, how's this? This is going to be a pen. Finally, we're going to get our goal," and it wasn't a pen. The thing that I heard on my stream was the VAR official basically said it was the movement. Sorry, what is it? It was
natural position,
natural movement, because he got bumped in. I haven't rewatched that specific point because I'm like, I don't give a fuck anymore. But if it was on our side and it wasn't a pen, would be very happy.
Yeah.
But I also wouldn't be mad if they got the penalty. I'd be like, oh shit, what are you doing? It looked like he scooped the ball, like literally.
Well, that's the thing. I think he knows what he's doing in his head. He doesn't want to give away a corner. Because he's like, and he knows what he's doing, and maybe he feels shielded. But look, apparently it hit his shoulder, and then you're right, he sort of scoops with his hand. So they've gone with it's hit another part of the body and natural positioning in terms of not giving it. And is it clear and obvious? I think maybe the referee should have been sent to have a look at it. Mm-hmm. And my instant reaction was, nah, not really a penalty. We got the corner in the end. He's running away from goal. And I don't really want to see penalties given for that. And if it was us, then I'd be annoyed. That was yesterday. the more I see it, the more no, that's a penalty. We should have got the penalty. Yeah, and also like I'm more annoyed. And maybe today I'm thinking I'm being less gracious, and I think, well, hang on, no, that I don't want to see penalties given for that. But by the letter of the law, I don't know. But for me, that seems to be a penalty, and it seems obvious. You're right. He's obviously trying to stop that. Bends his arm to make it stop going out from a corner, and I think that's what he does. And I think he knows that. And when asked about it, I'm sure he gave a big wink. I don't know if he did, but it sounded like he did. So for me, it's a penalty, not penalty. There you go. That's as far as I can go with that one. But we didn't get it. And to be honest, we've got bigger concerns. We should not be relying on an iffy VAR call to win a game, take our chances. And look, there was nothing really happened there afterwards, and pretty much game over. And Arsenal have had consecutive 0-0 draws in the Premier League for the first time since 2012-2013 campaign. So it's been a long time since we'd done that. But we're ranked first for away form in the Premier League, unbeaten in our last 10, and we've kept the most Premier League clean sheets, 10. So, and we're 7 points clear of City. Okay, everyone's dismissing Aston Villa, and I think I will continue to dismiss Aston Villa until they're 3 points behind us, until they're ahead of us, and there's only one game to play. So, So, any other players want to call out? Any other thoughts on the game before I give the Saliba and Gabriel statistics?
No, so I'm just surprised that we are ranked first for away form in the Premier League.
It was Tottenham, funny enough. It used to be Tottenham.
Yeah, but I mean, do they ever win at home? I think they've won like twice at home or something. That is a surprise because that's where I am critical. Like, I am not critical about the process, about our defense, about us creating chances. It's frustrating that we're not scoring. But where I'm critical is like, why aren't we scoring or winning rather away games? But to see that gives me a little bit of hope that it's actually not that bad. We are doing quite well. I don't have the numbers behind it, and it was from FOTMob in the little sort of stats about the team. So but I think it shows the strength of the Premier League in terms that no one is really standing out home or away as such. Anyway, sorry, go on. In terms of players to call out, no one really, honestly, besides our defense and keeping a clean sheet, Timber not getting a second yellow card and getting my points for my FPL team. By the way, I did really well this week. I'm sad about that. If there's anyone else I want to call out. I see in your notes you miss Calafiori. Dude, I miss him too.
It does feel we miss, Timber at the left-hand side. Again, great defensively, just that attacking threat down the left-hand side, especially being that inverted role. I think he gets in the way sometimes more than what he offers. And I think we are missing Calafiori badly as another creative asset in the team. It's a shame that, his personality and just his the way impresses himself on a match. Other things, I think Leo's purple patch has it ended. It's not done much for us lately, even starting or coming off as subs. We need to get him back up to that form he had. Like, was it November, December time? Martinelli, just inconsistent. You don't know what you're getting 1 week to the next. So 1 week he's getting hat tricks, getting assists, and then the next week he's missing a glorious chance. And I think that seems to be him all season, bit off the subs bench, bit starting. And maybe it's a time to start. Eze, and we were talking about this today in the group chat. And this is, we know Arteta loves control, and he's risk averse, and he sets up his teams for it sort of seems to be worst case scenario stuff. So he will play Martinelli down the left because we've got Timber there, because he doesn't want to expose Timber, who goes off wandering in the inverted role, and so Martinelli can play as a can cover, and so does Trossard. And Madueke is getting better down the right hand side. We know Saka does it. and ever since Eze made that mistake against Aston Villa, he seems to be really punished harshly for it. You know, and maybe it's a time to say, right, let's just get him in there. Let's use his creativity. Let's know what he can do, and give him a run of games there on the left hand side. You know, we know what Leo can do. We know what Nelly can do. They're being really inconsistent. I think it's forever. Every season, it's the left hand side is always an issue. I think maybe give Eze a run there, game of a few games. You know, if we want to score goals, we need to give up something. I think. You know, again, we might let in a couple more, but if we score a few more, then that's fine. So that's it for me. And I said, and you know, Jesus, yeah, we know what we're getting with him. We're getting with him now, and just the last thing, yeah, no, there's nothing really else. So that those are my sort. I mean, would you give Eze a run of games on the left hand side? Just say, look, you know, we've tried everything else, and also up front, the debate is what happens up front as well.
Yeah,
where would you go with those two?
I think Eze needs to get that chance. We know what he's capable of, and he'll give a totally different dynamic to how we move forward. Especially because when teams prepare against us, they prepare against not just the team as a whole, but as players, they know exactly what to expect from Leo and Trossard. And Martinelli. So with Eze, it'll be a little bit of a wild card situation where they're like, okay, cool. Now we need to figure out who this guy is. And up front, I'm just patiently waiting for when Kai Havertz is not seen as a fragile little baby and can start games. I hope that's also pushing Gyökeres to be like, fuck, I need to score. I need to do a bit more. Jesus. You said it earlier. We really thought that he was going to come back, you know, all guns blazing. I mean, especially after the way he left, he just before he got injured, he was doing quite well, right? But then it's just that's him. He's a very frustrating player. I don't know about him starting and leading a line, but maybe depending on the game, that could be an option. But
would you go back? Would you go back to having Marino up front?
Yeah, actually, that is the number one plan. That should be the number one plan. When I see our subs, sometimes I'm patiently and like optimistically hoping that it's a Marino and Gyökeres sub, but a lot of the time he's being slotted into the midfield. Yeah. Marino's our most informed finisher and goal scorer.
I know, but he's not scored for a while either. So it's a tough one because he had the last time he played up front was Villa, and it was anonymous in that first half, and he came off. He got hooked for Gyökeres. So there isn't. I don't think there's no neat solution. There is. You just need someone to get some form, or a couple of them to get some form. And look, even with Havertz coming back, you know, again, very good player, but again, he even frustrated us at times. He's not like banging them in. He's not a consistent finisher. Very good player. So again, I think it's back to the point we're making at the beginning. It's just like everyone just needs to chip in. Everyone needs to start chipping in. Saka needs to get more goals because again, he's got zero end product at the moment. Everyone needs to just get, you know, every other week, come on, you're scoring. We just need to keep that up and like, right, fine. Everyone goes up by a goal every week and that's fine. We've never been a centre forward who bangs in 20, 30 goals a season. So everyone has to start chipping in. Odegaard, you know, Saka, Gyökeres, Leo again, you know, Eze and things like that. So I think that's where we need to get to. And as you said, look, the process is there, just the execution. We execute better, we win that game easy. And I think comes down to execution. But it just leaves us frustrated. But as I said,
7 points.
Played 22. 50 points plus 26, you know, goal difference. So we even gained on goal difference yesterday. So we gained 1 point and two goals. So, you know, City on 43 points plus 24. Now, I was trying to sort of think about there's 16 games left with 7 points in the lead. So that's City have to make up 0.43 points per game. Now, no, that's not how it works. Well, I was just thinking, well, how, you know, if you add that, so basically, every 2 games they need to make up, you know, 1 point to sort of catch us, and that's without us doing anything in between. So, you know, so there's still work to be done there from them. And I said, Aston Villa, okay, they play Everton at home today at Fortress Villa Park on 43. You know, Liverpool, Liverpool 14 points behind us. Yeah, Man United 15 points, Chelsea 16, and this made me laugh. Tottenham 23 points behind us. You know, they've actually, they're 14th place, won 7, lost 9, and look, you know, there's always someone worse off in the world. So there's always someone, and look, Liverpool drew at home to Burnley. That's no one's even batting an eyelid, and that's after being 1-0 up, missing a penalty. Liverpool drew at home to Burnley, and Chelsea should got away with one yesterday against Brentford, and that was unfortunate. But it's us that's getting it in the air for being top of the league by 7 points. It's crazy. It's crazy. And look, you look at all the results, and I look at it like I've got the table here. You know, in the last 5, we've drawn 2. City have drawn 3 and lost 1. Villa have lost 1 and drawn 1. Liverpool have drawn the last 4. Man United have drawn 3 out of the last 4. Chelsea have drawn 2, lost 1, won 1. You know, out of the last 4. You know, everyone is sort of dropping points here and there, and the expectation that we should be just marching ahead and is there. And I think it's just about what's happened in previous seasons, and that's how much we want it. We just want it to be fun. I
promise you, as soon as we win the season, it's going to be fun.
I want it fun now. Well, I'm waiting for game week 24 when you're just going to guarantee that we're going to win the league. So there we go. With your statistical modelling. Hurry up with that.
Anything, dude.
hurry up there. Whale wants to place his bet. So anyway, on to your 3-word reviews. So thank you for sending those in onto Blue Sky, X, Threads, and TikTok, etc., and the Grove WhatsApp group. And again, apologies if I mangle your name. So on Blue Sky, we have Miguel Ionope, 90 minutes wasted. Yeah, that's 90 minutes we're not getting back. Mr. C the Gooner, so bloody frustrating. Yeah, I hear you. And Sid Silk, VAR useless again. Yeah, I think I'm veering towards your view on that, Sid. Okay, on Threads we have Spooks Davey. Where's Owen Goal? Yeah, where's OG when you need him? Paul C Giltulsa, disappointing. We move. I guess that's what we have to do. Yeah. Oh, hey, Gibby, 7 points clear. Yeah. Okay. Let's focus on the positives. Nicky Guna 06, penalty all day. Yeah, I'm here with that. Carolina Gunner, inches from winning. Yeah, we were. There was a couple of moments that we thought we were 1-0 up. Paul Latham, Digny 18, Forest Chop, Arsenal. Very good. That's a very good play on words, Paul. DTNGCBB feels like a loss. Yeah, we seem to be having these wins and draws that feel like losses too often. Leg Puppy, no snooze lose. Yeah, I think that's my favourite one so far. Ivan Johnson 7047, trying my patience. Yeah, I think Arsenal are really toying with us, and Danny Mast, dreadful second half. And then on to the boys and girls in the Grove WhatsApp. Moz can't handle the heat. He's one definitely on the mentality bandwagon. Someone here, Kuziva, 7 points clear. yeah, I'm with you on that one. Matt Stacey wants Marino's our striker. Manny, not good enough, and anything else is close. Anything else isn't close. Yeah, he's not accepting anything other than not good enough. Andy Leach, an opportunity missed. It was Henry, boring Arsenal. Yeah, Alan, these two made me laugh because it was one after the other. Alan, 7 points ahead. Guido should be 11. So thank you everyone for sending those in, and look, if you have any more, please feel free to drop in the comments or on the socials at the Grove AFC. So there you go. Right, let's forget about that. Let's get the Men in Black. I don't know what the thing's called, but memory eraser, and focus on what's happening on Tuesday night in the Giuseppe Meazza, the San Siro, at 8 o'clock as we take on Inter Milan, Game Week 7 in the Champions League. Now, we are top of this league as well. 1-6 out of 6, scored 17, only let in 1, and we're top with 18 points. Behind us is Bayern Munich with their one loss, which was against us. They got plus 11 on 15 points. PSG on 13 and third, and there's a few clubs in with that. Man City got 13, and Atalanta got 13, and then we have Inter on 12 with Real Madrid, Liverpool, and Atletico Madrid also 12, going down to ninth. All the other games have got easy games, so the big game of game week 7 is the Inter Arsenal clash, and look. Inter got to the final last year, beating Barcelona in a chaotic semi, then losing horribly to PSG in the final. But they got you Champions League pedigree. They're always thereabouts in the KO stages. You know, we also played them last year in a very tight, uneventful 1-0 loss to a dodgy handball penalty. Now, if UEFA officials were there yesterday, would be definitely getting a penalty. that game should have been 0-0. So look, what are you looking forward to? Not looking forward to as far as Inter Arsenal is concerned?
I am not looking forward to just their defense and their structure and how they play. They are probably the second, if not the first, or the best side we're playing against this season in terms of defensive structure. So it's going to be frustrating. But I am keen to see how we continue to create chances against a team that is so good at defending, right? So that's my low light is the defensive structure. My highlight, not low light. My not looking forward to is the defensive structure. My looking forward to is us showing the world that regardless of how good they are defensively, we can still create chances. If we score, that's another story.
Yeah, if we score. Yeah. Well, look, it's a cup game, so we do score in those. We scored 7 in the last 2 cup games. So there we go, Martinelli. There we go. Okay, so for me, I'm fortunate enough to be going to the game, meeting up with a few Grovers. So hopefully it'll be a bit of fun. It's a low stress Champions League away day in terms of the game itself. Whether being in Milan is going to be stressful, I don't know. Also, I think the San Siro is being knocked down at the end of the season, so going to that for one last time. I was there last year. It's an impressive stadium, but also a bit of a dump. So going on. So anyway, the trip should be fun, and again, it's not the high stakes Champions League game, so we should be able to enjoy it nonetheless. And it's always European away days are always good fun with the fans and stuff. Not looking forward to. Yeah, if I don't think we'll go with a weakened team, and we'll touch on that, but just just to see how we're going to bounce back from Forest, but also Man United a few days later is priority number 1.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking forward to the impact of the Inter game on that game. And so with that in mind, how would you approach this game? As I said, we've got Man United at the weekend. In terms of Champions League, we've got Kairat as our last game. And look, we're assuming we beat Kairat at home. And if we don't, there's bigger problems at play. But if we beat Kairat, and even if we don't, I think even if we draw, we're guaranteed top 2. And there isn't any difference between finishing first and second because both teams avoid each other and you get home field advantage in the second leg up until the final. So with that in mind, in that context, how do you think Arteta's going to approach it? How do you think we should approach it? What do you think the lineup's going to be?
So I think the back four will stay the same, bar Timber. I think MLS is good enough to. He's not good enough. I think he's been playing Champions League, so he'll probably start there. That said, though, they do play 3 at the back and 4 back, so let's see what happens. In the midfield, I don't think we'll see any changes. Up front, I think we'll see Saka, Gyökeres, and Martinelli, just because Martinelli's Champions League form is really good. And then in terms of approach, I want to believe that Arteta wants to just strangle the team as quickly as possible, quick 5 goals. I know obviously that's always the plan, but I think there'll be more incentive to really close off the game in the first half, if possible, so we can rest the key players for the United game. Yes, we are laughing.
When does it ever work? We always want to do that. It's never.
I know. That's what I said. I know that's always the plan. But after seeing United City yesterday, it was good fun. But I think a lot of us are also in the back of our mind scouting United and Carrick and seeing Bruno Fernandes playing in the 10 role. They are going to be a problem next week, and it's one of those games. So, I obviously we have to score the first half, and that's what we want to do. But I'm hoping that there's further incentive because we have actually qualified. We are arguably top two. Priority is it has to be United.
Yeah, I mean. Also, one thing I forgot to get: Mosquera was back on the bench against
Yes,
Forest, so that's really good news because in terms of the lineup, I agree. MLS will start. He's played a lot of UCL games. Interplay 3-5-2 or 5-3-2 formation, so they got wing backs rather than wingers. So I think maybe that's more suited to MLS, and he would feel less exposed rather than having a direct runner into him and taking advantage of the space that gets left behind. So I think, we'll start with that. And White playing 3 games in a row. Still not sure he's up to that. And last time he did do that and then he got injured. So don't know how fit Mosquera is. So I think Timber switches back to the right. I'm struggling. If I think about a front, depends on the niggle for Saka. I would still not start him. But I know Arteta won't want to lose this. Winning's a good habit. It keeps the momentum. He'll want to take it seriously. Yes, player management is important, but it's in front of the world. And Champions League games aren't necessarily most taxing, bit slower pace. So I would happily, start with Madueke, start with Martinelli, and Gyökeres. And maybe then do we have 2 runners? So maybe you start with maybe Leo rather ahead of Martinelli. So but I would still bench Saka. Don't need to see him playing. If he's got a niggle, sod it, keep him for United. Again, put Norgard in instead of Rice. Marino, I think he starts, and then Eze in there somewhere. But that's what I would like to do. Arteta's going to go Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, MLS, Rice, Odegaard, Zubimendi, Saka, Gyökeres, Martinelli. So look, I would like. For me, this is a free hit, and I don't want us to be embarrassed, on this stage. And actually, the other thing to plays into mind. Look, Inter played yesterday against Udine, who were in 10th. They played Pisa on Friday, who are 1 from bottom. So this is their focus for the week. They rested some players yesterday. This is their priority focus because they're 6th. They're not safe. They've got us, and then I think they play Borussia Dortmund the last game. I can't remember, but they've got 2 big games. So I'll get onto their form. In fact, so who have they got? They've got Dortmund away. So they're not guaranteed. They would want to try and get top 8. So to avoid the sort of playoff round, so this is their focus. So they'll be up for it. And look, in terms of as I said, they play 3-5-2, 5-3-2. They've got a different manager, Christian Chivu, over was it Inzaghi last year. So I think they're a bit different. I think they're a bit higher in the press, more aggressive in the duels. They do play a high line. They try and do rapid counter attacks and stuff like that, but then also that high line leaves them exposed. So maybe it is Nelly, is Madueke, is Gyökeres. So there's opportunities there. It's how we deal with the high press and the aggressive duel. So I think that's why Marino maybe starts. Marino over Odegaard, I would suggest. And look, their Champions League form, they started off quite well, but they weren't playing much. They beat Ajax 2-0 away, beat Slavia Prague, beat Union St. Gilloise, and beat Kairat. Actually, and they only beat Kairat 2-1 at home. And then as soon as the games got tougher, they lost away to Atletico Madrid and they lost at home to Liverpool. So their position's a bit, say, false. And so these 2 games are quite big for them. And in Serie A, they're top of the league by 6 points.
To note, against Kairat, they were 1-1 at one stage. I remember there was a bit of drama around that time. We're like, oh shit, are these guys still good enough? And then they ended up winning 2-1, but it wasn't an easy game.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe that's a word of warning for us, but also it sort of shows them. But anyway, they're top of the league in Serie A. 116. They've lost 4. Now they've scored 44 goals, but let in 17, and in the Champions League, they've scored 12, but let in 4. So they're not watertight. The Italian teams, we know the likes of, was it Bastoni at the back. They've got Akanji from City there. So Sommer in goals, always decent. They're not one to letting too many, but they also can concede. They have got a couple of injuries that might help us. So Denzel Dumfries, who's always been a good defender, or wing back, he's out till March, and Hakan Kananoglu, who seems to be a mainstay in the midfield for them, right in centre midfield. He's out till mid-February, but they still got Barella, DeMarco, who's seen go up and down, and they got Thuram and Martinez up front. So they hold a threat. They've also got Mkhitaryan, who I'm sure is about 50 years old, but but he's still there, ex-Arsenal. So yeah, with all that in mind, that context, what do you think? What's your prediction for the game, and any further thoughts on Inter?
No further thoughts besides. Yeah, it's going to be. I'm excited. I always enjoy Champions League because it's just so different to the Premier League, even if it's a team that does nullify attacks as much as they do. But in terms of predictions, I'm hoping for a sneaky 2-1. Sneaky 2-1.
Okay. I've gone 1-1. Yeah. Just 1-1. To be honest, I can see all three variations of 1-0 to them, 1-0 to us, or a draw. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. I don't want it to be a high scoring game. I just want it to be low key, low stress, low effort, low everything. And look, as I said, it's a bit of a free hit. We don't have to pile everything into winning this. They need it. They in a way need it more than us. So again, I just hope it doesn't it doesn't turn into like a 2-3 for them, because I think still winning and confidence is a good habit. So let's see, and yeah, it's another European away day, and let's hope we get to enjoy it. So there we go. That's that. Thank you, Kuziva, for joining me today. Thank you for that and stepping in due to technological failures last night with myself and Ian.
No worries. It's always good chatting and rewatching a game that we didn't win. But yeah,
your commitment to the pod has not gone unnoticed. So it is much appreciated. So thank you for that. And look, I hope you enjoyed that too. Yeah, I can't make it 9 points. It is 7 points, but we are top of the league. The underlying metrics are still very much in our favour. The supercomputers have all got us winning everything. You're going to come and tell us in game week 24 why we're going to win everything. And so there's a lot of joy to be had, just not as much joy as we would like. You can follow us on Threads and Blue Sky, TikTok, Insta, etc. on at the Grove AFC. We have a YouTube channel where we post the videos of this at the Grove AFC, and obviously it goes out on all the other podcast apps. So leave a nice little rating, leave a comment. That would be very much appreciated. And the next show will be after the Inter Milan game and pre the biggie against Man United. And I did pose the question yesterday on the socials: how long does a new manager bounce last? And we're all hoping it's just one game. so let's see. And yeah, look, thank you for listening. Life is good, and until the next time, come on, you Gunners.